There is a brutal truth about money that most people discover far too late. Getting rich is not primarily about how much money you make. It is about what you do with money once it reaches your hands. Because two people can earn the same income, live in the same city, and have the same opportunities, yet one becomes financially powerful while the other remains trapped in the same cycle for decades. One earns more and immediately spends more. The other earns more and quietly becomes harder to destroy. One buys things that make him look wealthy. The other buys assets that make him wealthy. One needs to be seen. The other needs no applause. And eventually, the difference becomes impossible to ignore. This is where the philosophy of Niccolò Machiavelli becomes useful. Machiavelli understood something about power that applies directly to money. Power does not belong to the person who appears powerful. It belongs to the person who has control. And wealth is simply another form of control. Control over your time, control over your choices, control over emergencies, control over opportunities, control over whether you can walk away from a bad situation. That is why this video is not about 7 cute budgeting tips. It is about 7 ruthless habits that can completely change your relationship with money. And if you stay until the end, you will understand why some people seem to become wealthier almost effortlessly, while others can double their income and somehow remain broke. So watch this video all the way to the end, because the 7th habit is the one that separates people who temporarily make money from people who build wealth that survives them. Habit number 1. Stop using money to prove that you have money. This is one of the most expensive psychological traps in modern society. You earn more, your lifestyle increases, you get a better phone, better clothes, better restaurants, better car, better apartment, more subscriptions, more entertainment, more expensive habits. And because your lifestyle rises at the same speed as your income, you never actually become financially stronger. You simply become more expensive to maintain. This is the illusion of progress. Your income goes up, your expenses go up, your possessions increase, but your freedom barely changes. Machiavelli would recognize this immediately, because a person who must constantly maintain an expensive image is not truly powerful. He is dependent. He needs the next paycheck. He needs people to admire him. He needs the appearance of success to continue. And that makes him vulnerable. The truly dangerous person is different. He may earn a lot, but he does not feel obligated to display it. He understands that money loses its power when it is converted into unnecessary status. Imagine 2 people. The first makes $5,000 every month. He spends almost all of it. The second makes $5,000 every month. But he lives as though he makes $3,000. That remaining $2,000 is quietly working in the background. After 1 month, nobody notices. After 1 year, the difference becomes meaningful. After 10 years, the difference can become enormous. This is why wealth often looks boring while it is being built. The person building wealth may not look rich. He may drive an ordinary car, wear simple clothes, live below his means, avoid expensive habits. And sometimes people will even assume he is not doing well. Let them. That is the point. You do not need to look wealthy while you are becoming wealthy. In fact, sometimes looking poor is strategically useful, because attention is expensive. Every time you increase your lifestyle simply to impress other people, you surrender a piece of your future for a few moments of approval. You are taking tomorrow's freedom and exchanging it for today's appearance. And that is a terrible trade. So the first ruthless habit is simple. When your income increases, do not immediately increase your lifestyle. Increase your financial strength first. Let your savings grow. Let your investments grow. Let your emergency reserves grow. Let your assets grow. Then, if you still want the luxury, buy it from a position of strength, not desperation. Because there is a massive difference between buying something because you can afford it and buying something because you need everyone to believe that you can afford it. One is freedom. The other is insecurity disguised as wealth. Habit number 2. Pay yourself before everyone else. Most people treat saving as whatever happens to remain after spending. They receive money. They pay bills. They eat. They entertain themselves. They buy things. They solve other people's problems. And then, at the end of the month, they look at what is left. Usually, nothing. Then they say, I'll save next month. But next month arrives with another emergency, another bill, another temptation, another reason, and the cycle continues. This is why saving should not be treated as an afterthought. It should happen before your money gets a chance to disappear. The moment money enters your hands, a portion of it should be assigned to your future, not after you spend. Before you spend, think of your income as an army. Every naira has a mission. Some must defend your present, some must build your future, some must create opportunities, and some must remain untouched. If every soldier is sent into battle without reserves, the army eventually collapses. Your finances work the same way. You need reserves, you need capital, you need money that is not available for impulse, because the goal is not simply to survive until your next paycheck. The goal is to gradually create a situation where your survival no longer depends entirely on your next paycheck. That is financial power, and it begins with paying yourself first, even if the amount is small. Especially if the amount is small, because the habit matters before the amount does. If you cannot control $100, suddenly receiving $10,000 will not automatically make you disciplined. It will simply give your lack of discipline more ammunition. That is why wealthy behavior begins before wealthy income. You train the behavior first, then you increase the money. Habit number 3. Never let one source of income control your entire life. This does not mean you need 7 businesses tomorrow. It does not mean you should quit your job and chase every online opportunity you see. It means you should understand one dangerous principle. Dependency creates weakness. If one paycheck determines whether you can pay your bills, handle an emergency, or survive the next month, then your financial position is fragile. You might have a good salary. You might even make more than most people around you. But if everything depends on one source, you are exposed. Machiavelli understood the importance of not depending entirely on one person, one alliance, or one source of power. The same principle applies to wealth. You want multiple engines eventually. Your primary income can pay for your life. Your investments can grow your capital. A business can create additional cash flow. Skills can create opportunities. And assets can eventually generate income without requiring every hour of your attention. But there is another important distinction. Do not confuse multiple income streams with multiple distractions. You do not need 10 random side hustles. You need strategic diversification. One strong income stream is better than 5 weak ones that consume all your time. Build one, strengthen it, then use the surplus to build another. This is how financial independence is constructed, layer by layer, not overnight. And never forget this, your salary is not your wealth. Your salary is the fuel. Your wealth is what you build with the fuel. Habit number 4, become ruthless about debt. Debt is not automatically evil. But careless debt can become one of the most effective ways to enslave yourself financially. There is a difference between debt that helps create productive assets and debt that simply finances consumption. Borrowing money to acquire something that produces value can sometimes be strategic. Borrowing money because you want something immediately can become a trap. The problem is that debt makes future income belong to your past decisions. You earn money today, but a portion of that money is already promised to something you bought yesterday. And if enough of your future income is already committed, your freedom disappears. This is why people can earn decent money and still feel broke. Their income is not really theirs anymore. It has already been assigned. Loan payment, credit card payment, car payment, subscriptions, rent, lifestyle commitments, family obligations. And suddenly the person is working incredibly hard just to maintain a life they can barely afford. That is not wealth, that is financial captivity. So become ruthless. Know exactly what you owe. Know the interest. Know the repayment timeline. Know which debts are helping you and which ones are draining you. And most importantly, stop taking new debt simply because you can qualify for it. A bank telling you that you can afford something does not mean you can. They are calculating whether you can make the payment. You should be calculating whether the purchase makes you stronger. That is a completely different question. Habit number 5. Learn to delay gratification without feeling deprived. This may be the most underrated financial skill in existence. Human beings naturally want rewards now. Now feels real. Tomorrow feels imaginary. That is why someone will spend $500 today without hesitation, but struggle to imagine what that same money could become over 10 or 20 years. The wealthy mindset reverses this. It asks, what happens if I refuse this reward today? Not because you should never enjoy your money, but because you need to become comfortable telling yourself, not yet. That phrase is incredibly powerful. Not never, not impossible, not I can never have it. Just not yet. That allows you to sacrifice temporary pleasure without feeling like your life is being taken away. You are not saying no to the future. You are choosing the future over the present. And there is something psychologically powerful about this. Every time you resist an unnecessary purchase, you prove to yourself that your desires do not control you. That is wealth beyond money. Because if your impulses control your decisions, increasing your income will not solve the problem. You will simply have more resources to feed the impulses. Discipline must come first. Money only amplifies whatever behavior already exists. If you are disciplined, more money can accelerate your progress. If you are reckless, more money can accelerate your destruction. Habit number 6. Treat every opportunity as an investment decision. Most people ask, can I afford this? The ruthless question is, what does this money become if I don't spend it? That question changes everything. Imagine you have $1,000. You could spend it on something that gives you temporary excitement, or you could use it to acquire a skill, a tool, a business asset, a productive investment, a certification, equipment, education, or something that increases your ability to generate income. The question is not whether spending is bad. The question is whether the money is being consumed or deployed. There is a difference. Consumption ends when the experience ends. Investment has the potential to continue producing value. And this is where many people misunderstand wealth. They think wealthy people simply save everything. No. Wealthy people learn how to deploy capital. Money sitting idle may protect you from some problems, but intelligently deployed capital can create more capital. That is the game. You want your money to eventually become workers. Imagine owning assets that continue working while you sleep. You wake up, they are still producing value. You go on vacation, they are still producing value. You are sick, they are still producing value. You are busy, they are still producing value. That is when money starts changing from something you constantly chase into something that begins working alongside you. And this leads directly to the final habit. The habit that most people ignore because it requires something modern society hates. Patience. Habit number 7. Think in decades while everyone else thinks in weekends. This is where fortunes are separated from fantasies. Everybody wants fast money, fast results, fast followers, fast success, fast wealth. But wealth that lasts is usually built slowly, very slowly. At first, the progress can feel almost invisible. You save your first amount, you invest your first amount, you build your first business, you acquire your first productive asset, and nothing dramatic happens. You wake up the next day and you are still the same. Your bank account has not transformed overnight. Your life looks almost identical, so most people quit. They think the strategy is not working, but something is happening beneath the surface. Capital is accumulating, skills are compounding, connections are growing, experience is increasing, assets are producing, and eventually the growth becomes visible. This is the part people misunderstand about compounding. They look at the final result and think it happened suddenly. It did not. The visible explosion was simply the result of years of invisible preparation. A tree does not become enormous because it grew dramatically yesterday. It became enormous because it kept growing when nobody was watching. Your wealth works the same way. And this is why patience is not passive. Patience is disciplined aggression over a long period of time. You continue building, you continue learning, you continue saving, you continue investing, you continue improving your earning ability. You continue refusing unnecessary status. You continue making decisions that your future self will thank you for, even when nobody notices, especially when nobody notices. Because the person who needs applause will struggle to build quietly. And wealth loves quiet. Real wealth does not need to announce itself every morning. It appears in the form of choices. The ability to leave a terrible job. The ability to survive an emergency. The ability to help your family without destroying yourself. The ability to take an opportunity because you have capital available. The ability to say no. The ability to walk away. That is what money is supposed to give you, not just possessions, options. And perhaps that is the most important lesson of all. Do not build wealth simply so people can look at you and say, that person is rich. Build wealth so that you can look at your own life and say, I am no longer trapped. Because the ultimate purpose of money is not luxury. It is leverage. It gives you time. It gives you choices. It gives you protection. It gives you the ability to act when other people are forced to wait. And if you adopt these 7 habits, something interesting begins to happen. You stop thinking about money as something to spend. You start thinking about money as something to control. You stop asking, what can I buy? And start asking, what can I build? You stop asking, how can I look successful? And start asking, how can I become difficult to destroy? You stop chasing the appearance of wealth, and you begin building the substance of it. But there is one final principle that ties all 7 habits together, and without this principle, even the best financial strategy can eventually collapse. The final principle is this: you must learn to control yourself before you attempt to control your money. Because money is obedient. It follows instructions. If you are impulsive, money becomes impulsive. If you are careless, money becomes careless. If you are disciplined, money becomes disciplined. If you have no plan, money will simply disappear into the plans of everyone else. Think about how easily money can leave your hands. A meal here, a subscription there, a new phone, a night out, a purchase you barely remember, a loan to someone who never pays you back, a business idea you never finished, a bad investment because you wanted quick returns. None of these decisions has to destroy you individually. The danger is repetition. One careless decision is rarely what ruins someone financially. It is thousands of small decisions made without thinking. That is why wealth requires awareness. You need to know where your money goes. You need to know why you spend. You need to know what triggers your spending. Do you spend when you are bored, when you are stressed, when you want attention, when you feel unsuccessful, when you want to reward yourself? Because sometimes the problem is not financial, it is emotional. People often spend money trying to purchase feelings. They buy comfort, they buy status, they buy excitement, they buy validation. They buy the temporary feeling that their life is moving forward. But when the feeling disappears, the payment remains. And that is how emotional spending quietly becomes financial weakness. The ruthless person learns to recognize this. Before spending, ask yourself one question. Am I buying this because I need it, because it creates value, or because I am trying to feel something? That question can save you more money than any budgeting application ever will. And remember this: you do not need to become miserable to become wealthy. That is another mistake. Extreme deprivation is not the goal. The goal is intentionality. Spend on things that genuinely improve your life. Spend on experiences that matter. Take care of yourself. Enjoy your money. But do not allow temporary pleasure to dictate permanent financial decisions. There is nothing wrong with enjoying luxury when luxury is funded by strength. The problem is using debt and desperation to imitate strength. A person who has $100,000 in productive assets and drives an ordinary car may be financially stronger than someone driving a $100,000 car with nothing left in the bank. One owns an asset. The other owns an obligation. One has options. The other has payments. Never confuse appearance with power. Machiavelli understood appearances. He understood that people are often impressed by what they can see. But money has a hidden side. The most important financial victories are invisible. The debt you did not take, the purchase you resisted, the investment you made, the emergency fund you built, the skill you learned, the business you started, the opportunity you were able to accept because you had cash available. Nobody applauds those moments. But those moments are building your future. And eventually, the results become visible. This is why you should stop comparing your financial journey to other people. You have no idea what is behind their appearance. The expensive car might be financed. The luxury apartment might be consuming most of their income. The vacations might be sitting on a credit card. The business might be drowning in debt. The person you envy might secretly envy your freedom, so stop measuring your progress by what other people display. Measure it by your own numbers. Are your assets increasing? Is your debt decreasing? Is your income becoming more stable? Are your skills becoming more valuable? Is your emergency reserve growing? Are you becoming less dependent on a single paycheck? Are you becoming better at controlling your impulses? If the answer is yes, you are winning, even if nobody can see it yet. And here is where the 7 habits come together. Live below your means. Pay yourself first. Build multiple sources of income. Control your debt. Delay gratification. Deploy your money intelligently. Think in decades. These habits are not glamorous. They will not make you look rich tomorrow. They will not give you millions overnight. They will not produce some magical shortcut. But they can create something much more valuable. A financial foundation that is difficult to destroy. And that is the real meaning of everlasting wealth. It does not mean that you will literally keep every dollar forever. It means you build a system that can survive setbacks. You lose money and recover. You face an emergency and remain standing. A business fails and you rebuild. An investment performs badly and you continue. Your income disappears temporarily and you do not immediately collapse. That is resilience. And resilience is one of the greatest forms of wealth. Because life is unpredictable. There will be setbacks. There will be mistakes. There will be opportunities you miss. There will be investments that disappoint you. There will be people who betray your trust. There will be months when everything goes wrong. You cannot control all of that. But you can control how exposed you are. The person with no savings is exposed. The person with massive debt is exposed. The person dependent on one income source is exposed. The person whose entire identity depends on maintaining a lifestyle is exposed. But the person who has reserves, skills, assets, discipline, and patience has something different. They have room to breathe. And room to breathe creates better decisions. When you are desperate for money, you accept bad opportunities. When you have no savings, you tolerate terrible situations. When every paycheck is already spent, you cannot think strategically. But when you build financial space, your decisions change. You can wait, you can negotiate, you can walk away, you can invest. You can take calculated risks, you can say no. And that is the ultimate objective. Not to become obsessed with money, but to make money less capable of controlling you. Because there is a strange paradox about wealth. The more you chase money emotionally, the more powerful it becomes over you. But the more calmly you understand it, the more useful it becomes to you. Money should be your servant, not your master. So begin today, not tomorrow, not when you earn more, not when the economy improves, not when you finally get the perfect opportunity. Start with whatever you have. Track it, control it, protect it, grow it, deploy it, repeat. If you earn a small amount, practice with a small amount. If you earn a large amount, practice with a large amount. The principle does not change. Every naira, dollar or pound that enters your life should have a purpose. Some money protects you. Some money maintains your life. Some money creates opportunities. Some money builds assets. And some money can be enjoyed. But none of it should disappear simply because you were not paying attention. That is the difference between earning money and mastering money. And eventually, if you remain disciplined long enough, something remarkable happens. Your money begins to give you something that money cannot directly buy. Time. You no longer need to chase every opportunity. You can choose. You can work because you want to, not because you are terrified of tomorrow. You can help people without destroying your own foundation. You can pursue something meaningful. You can take risks without risking everything. You can build. You can create. You can breathe. And perhaps that is the greatest form of wealth. Not the watch, not the car, not the mansion, not the number displayed on a screen. Freedom. The freedom to decide what happens next. So remember the 7 ruthless habits. Do not spend to prove that you are wealthy. Pay yourself before everyone else. Never depend entirely on one source of income. Control your debt before it controls you. Master delayed gratification. Treat money as capital, not merely something to consume. And think in decades while everyone else is thinking about tomorrow. Most people will ignore these principles. Some will hear them and do nothing. Others will begin and quit when the results are not immediate. But a small number of people will understand. They will realize that wealth is not created in one dramatic moment. It is created through thousands of quiet decisions. A decision to save, a decision to invest, a decision to learn, a decision to wait, a decision to say no, a decision to live below your means, a decision to keep building when nobody is watching. And years from now, those decisions will be standing behind you, not as theories, as assets, as freedom, as options, as security, as power. So do not ask yourself whether you can become wealthy overnight. Ask yourself something far more important. What financial habits can I repeat for the next 10 years without stopping? Because the person who can answer that question has already understood the game. Build quietly. Spend intentionally. Invest patiently. Control yourself. Let time work. And never forget. The person who controls his money eventually controls more of his life. And the person who cannot control his money will spend his life working for it. Machiavelli's greatest lesson was never simply about acquiring power. It was about understanding power. And when it comes to money, the greatest power is not having the ability to spend. It is having the ability not to. That is discipline. That is leverage. That is patience. And that is how wealth stops being a temporary achievement and becomes a force that can outlive you.